So friends, you're very welcome to our night prayer on Saturday of our festival. This is night 7 of our night prayer. Tomorrow will be our final night, but tonight is night 7. Today in the festival, we had our wonderful wander. And the kind of theory behind the wander is a simple theory. Brendan McManus, as you'll see there on the screen, Brendan and I were chatting earlier on, and it struck him, and I would agree that the wander really is the heart of what the Four Corners Festival is about. It's the event where people get to meet and get to explore different corners of Belfast. So today we walked from the north of the city into the west of the city, and we visited Glencairn, and that allowed us to walk in beautiful woodland and beside rivers. Then we walked the streets of Belfast as well, down the Ballygomartin Road into Woodvale Park, where we paused at a peace tree. We walked on down to Workman Avenue, which is in effect a peace wall or a dividing line between parts of our community. And Esther, as you'll see on your screen, read a beautiful poem there. And we finished in Springfield Dam on the Springfield Road in the west of the city, where we had more poetry, and we had a surprise guest who met us, and that was Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury. So we had Justin and his chaplain and the Deputy Lord Mayor of Belfast met us. So it was a great day altogether. And so as the day ends, we come to prayer, and as we have done every other night, we are blessed to have with us an artist to show us a piece of art, and just as importantly, to talk to us about themselves and their process. So tonight I want to introduce you to Jonny McEwen. So Jonny's going to come on the screen with me. Hiya, Jonny.
Hi there.
Good to see you. You might recognize Jonny. Jonny has been with us and has fallen into our nightly rhythm all through the week. And Jonny is our artist tonight. And you see behind him some of the art, and we're going to be able to spotlight that on the screen, and you will have a chance to engage with that. But just for now, before we get into the piece that we're going to see, Jonny, I wonder, might you tell the folks here a little bit about yourself, and what is it that intrigues you about the process of painting?
Okay. I'm an abstract painter, paint abstract landscapes. I've been painting for 30 years, probably. Sometimes people ask me how long does it take to do a painting, and I say it's 55 years, thereabouts, getting longer each time. I've also the other thing I do apart from being an artist, I've got a studio at the Vault, which is an exciting new artist studio thing that we've taken over a building in off the Newtonards Road, filled with circus performers and comedians and musicians and theatre people. It's great, and loads of visual art. So that's what the studio is. I also got a creative consultancy called Daisy Chain, and we're interested in placemaking, which is about how people feel about where they live. So that's my main thing. I have a background, I guess, in peace building, especially in kind of creative approaches to peace building. I used to work with Coromila and Corporation Ireland and an organisation called Ties Training and do some mediation stuff. And I used to think that I had this job, and then 3 days a week I was a painter and I was an artist, and I've started to feel like it's all the one thing I'm just doing, whether you're encouraging creativity or encouraging new relationships or just trying to create something subversively beautiful. All those things have become more meshed in my head. Yeah, so your question about, I said I'm intrigued by painting. I love painting, like I get lost sometimes in the act of it. So although I'm painting landscapes or abstract landscapes, they're not standing in front of a hill, painting a hill. I'm remembering spaces I've been or thinking about it, but also just the paint itself really intrigues me. The expression about people, meaning a very boring thing is watching paint dry. For me, I don't get that at all. It's like, I spend half my days watching paint dry. I love it. So
fantastic, Jonny, that's great. A question we've been asking all of our artists in one way or another through the week simply out of curiosity, does faith play a part in your creative process and your art and the pieces that you produce?
Indirectly, I think. I mean, I guess I kind of, when people ask me about my faith, I tend to say I still believe, or I say I'd like to be more Christian. Those are my kind of like position thing. And it's about this kind of like, I think my faith is this process thing, and that's the kind of an overlap with the process of painting is got that. There's a layeredness to it, and there's a journey.
Thank you, Jonny. That's a great answer to the question. Let's now begin to engage with the particular piece of art that you have brought for us this evening. So Marty in the background, who's making everything happen technologically. Marty, just you see there was a comment about the sound, and if there's anything that can be done at our end, we'll do that. So we're going to have a look now at this piece. Now, Jonny, talk us through this piece, and as you do, maybe help us to think, how might people engage with this? Where might it take them?
Well, actually, so I actually did two paintings. There's two here that they're nearly the same painting. And what I was thinking about, I was thinking about the process of my own painting, and also thinking about the process of the four corners that they're going. It's an attempt at a kind of reconciliation of different parts of the canvas. That there's these dialogues happening between. In the area, it's like a building of bridges that becomes impossible, and they're starting from different positions. And there's this kind of like, at the center, there's this space. When I'm creating these canvases, I'm creating imagined spaces or places that don't quite exist, but nearly do exist or could exist. And that kind of, those spaces are central in kind of, yeah, so sometimes it's about creating encounters, sometimes it's about creating space. I was thinking about that kind of process. I'm thinking about dialogue between people across the way, and between heavens and the earth as well. Though there's an implied cross, I guess, or different directions of where these communication lines are happening. And in the middle is this attempt at space, at kind of which is an invitation, I guess, and that's where I was thinking. And I did two because I thought one of them would be finished, but actually I then decided that they're both unfinished, and I'm presenting them as unfinished pieces. So it's a work in progress. It has to be a work in progress. I'm not saying I'm going to do any more to them. I think I might just leave them as incomplete paintings, as a kind of, that kind of wrestling with them to kind of go, well, how do you know when it's finished? And going, well, actually it isn't. So that's kind of where I've left them.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they're meditative. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, on our website, and the Four Corners website, you'll be able to go in there under our art gallery and see both of the pieces together, which is lovely. Marty, could you spotlight just the painting for us, so that our folk can really engage again there with that? And when people are engaging with it, Jonny, is there somewhere that you think it might take them, or you want it to take them, or where you think it might lead them on to? What's your thought about that?
I think it's for me. I think there's a mood that I'd like people to get. That there's an intrigue, but also I think people then very quickly add their own stories to this and go, that reminds me of some place I was, or that little square there. That's like, that could be the lake near my grandfather's farm, or for example, I'm happy enough for people take their own memories of landscape and add them to this. But it's also just about a mood, kind of, and a sense of there's something, I hope, spiritual in them as well, of that there's an invitation to a quietness and to a finding space within yourself as well.
Fantastic. It strikes me then when we take some time, as we're going to do now with our piece, we might ask ourselves, where is the spirit in the art as we see it? We might also ask ourselves, what mood might it evoke in me? And that word that Jonny used seems to be key for you, about space. What space does it move me into? So, Jonny, thank you very, very much. We're going to now focus simply on our piece of art. So as we had in our chat there, if you go to where it says view, I think if you click speaker, is that what it is, Marty? If people click speaker, view, you'll be able to see the piece of art. So Jonny, thank you very much. We're going to spend just a little time with your wonderful work here. And we're just going to explore the mood, the spirit, and the space that it evokes us. Thank you so much. So Marty, I'm not sure, are you there? Can you hear me? Oh, you can. I could also, yes, please remove Jonny and I from the spotlight. That's just perfect, and then we can have just our piece of art. So there we go. So as we normally do, and I invite you, just as you see or you're moved in some way, there might be something you'd want to share in our comment section. I invite you now to do that. This is our time. So I will read some of our comments, particularly for the benefit of our YouTube viewers who will be watching later and won't have the benefit of seeing our comments. Rona, you see a light arch. For me, it evokes a kind of image of bright skies above the rain clouds and moves me to know that there will be an end to the dark times. Gladys, the word that you associate with it is becoming. Betsy, you tell us that the unfinished nature of Jonny's work allows the viewer to engage, and you say that it's wonderful, inspired work. Steve, making space, leaving space is reconciliation and indeed the four corners, a space for the bridge and not the bridge quite yet. Again, echo of that idea of the unfinished work, perhaps, of peace building. Esther, you're intrigued by the unknowingness in these paintings. There's an invitation into that unknowing. Flowing colour, wondering which medium with regard to reference to watching paint dry. Very good. Resting, dissolving into white light. Irene. I'm seeing again and again in our comments the idea of space coming up. Deirdre, becoming, you have as well, that word. You see a large piece of pottery, reminds me of Turner, reminds Neville of Turner too. Alan, an invitation to be curious. I sat with Jonny's work online earlier, and I would really invite you to go to the website and sit with it for just quite a bit of time. It just is such a beautiful, mysterious kind of experience. It's beautiful. So as always this week, the art is opening not only our minds, but our hearts, opening that space within us that knows and wants to connect with God. And so let's move to McKayla now to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Jonny, for also bringing that artwork for us to reflect on tonight. Marty, if you wouldn't mind just going ahead and leaving up his artwork, that would be great. Just on the rotation that you had. And now I invite you all just to close your eyes, enter in this space as we normally do. Feel the rise and the fall of your breath. Allow yourself to feel heavy in your seat as you relax. Just make space here. Now, Marty, if you would like to spotlight his work, that would be perfect. Thank you. Now, friends, focus again on your breath, drawing out your inhale and your exhale, however long is comfortable for you. Maybe pausing after the inhale. This prayer, this reflection time is inspired by Jonny's work and also by our wonderful wander that we experienced earlier today. So our theme that I'll be focusing on is pilgrimage. So I'll give you a moment now just to sit and think about what pilgrimage means to you. If you'd like to, you can do this independently, just thinking on your own, or you can engage in the chat, however you wish. As I was thinking about this earlier, and thinking about pilgrimage and wander, I realized that our journey all happens between the sky, heaven, as Jonny pointed out, and the earth beneath our feet. Our pilgrimage happens in this space here. And I encourage you to think for a minute what it's like to live in that space between heaven and earth. How that moves you, how it encourages you. We live this wonderful pilgrimage that's full of life and connection, dialogue, poetry, and breath. Each is a gift from God. I invite you all now to take a moment and ask God where He's inviting you in your great wander. Where are your feet taking you? Try to visualize it. Maybe it's straight into the arms of the Father. Maybe it's hand in hand with Him. Invite Him into your journey that lies in this space between heaven and earth. And just breathe here for a moment. I'm going to read this poem, this pilgrimage prayer by Jenny Child. God of our pilgrimage, you have given us a desire to take the questing way and set out on our journey. Help us to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, that whatever we encounter as we travel, we may seek to glorify you by the way we live. Eternal God, give us the courage to set off on pilgrimage. May we travel unhindered by worldly possessions, simply trusting in you for all that we need. Sometimes our hearts will be heavy as we plod along, and our feet will ache and feel dirty. Other times we will rejoice as the sun shines on the path stretching before us. May we ponder the truth that the pilgrim's journey is never finished till they reach home. You call us, Lord, to leave familiar things and to leave our comfort zone. May we open our eyes to new experiences. May we open our ears to hear you speaking to us. And may we open our hearts to your love. Grant that this time spent on pilgrimage may help us to see ourselves as we really are, and may we strive to become the people you would have us to be. Lord, you know our beginning and our end. Help us to realize we are the only pilgrims on this earth, and save us from being too attached to worldly possessions. May we experience the freedom to wander, the freedom to hope, and the freedom to love as we journey. Creator God, you are the source of all life and motivation. May we journey in faith and love, rejoicing and eager to serve you. Grant us a glimpse of your glory as we seek to follow you, the way, the truth, and the life. May God, the Father who created you, guide your footsteps. May God, the Son who redeemed you, share your journey. May God, the Holy Spirit who sanctifies you, lead you on life's pilgrimage. And the blessing of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit be with you wherever you may go. Amen. Now come back to your personal pilgrimage. What are you invited to in your own wonderful landscape, in this space between heaven and earth? Where will you wander? Now, before I pass it along to Jim to lead us in a song and close us out, I invite you all just to take 3 deep breaths together, really filling up your stomach and your chest and really pushing out all the air that you can. Thank you so much for joining me in this prayer. Now over to Jim.
Oh, thank you, McKayla. That was just beautiful. Thank you so much. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Melt us, mold us, fill us, use us. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Thank you very much. You see on screen we have information there about how you might contact Jonny to find out about these pieces or any other pieces that he's working on. Jonny, can I thank you very much for coming, for what you said and what you shared in terms of your art. You can see from our chat section that it really did touch people in a whole load of different ways. So friends, that's the end of our Saturday night prayer. And we have one more to go. Sunday, our final day. In fact, it will be the final breath of the festival, this 10th anniversary festival, tomorrow at 10 here online. Before that, tomorrow morning on Radio Ulster, we will have the morning service from Grosvenor Hall. Am I saying it right, David? They're down in the city centre. We will have Justin Welby, who will be preaching there tomorrow, and a host of other people talking as well. Tomorrow evening, then at 7 in St. Peter's Cathedral, we will have Archbishop Justin Welby. He will be our keynote speaker in our final event. And then we will gather, please God, as many of us who will are able to finish the festival out in prayer. So, Marty, if you can unspotlight everybody so that we're all back on the screen together. And Marty's going to make it so that you can unmute yourself. So if you just click your gallery view, you'll see everyone. So if you want to at this stage, you can unmute yourself. What power we have given all of us. And let's just say good night and God bless as we finish off. Good night, God bless.
God bless.